if you guys have seen it, but Blizzard just added a new instance updating old Lordaeron with brand new Scarlet Crusade lore. While this is Season of Discovery, this is actually legit main universe lore. This is not alternate stuff. Remember, they showed us that light crystal with Xal'atath and all this Xal'atath lore around the time we had discovered Beledar, definitely related to the war within. This place is a port town called New Avalon, and the new super powerful Light Arathi Empire likely lives in a place called Avaloren, so Avalon, Avaloren. Recently, Scarlets were able to transform into giant light monstrosities, which is not something they had ever done before. Now, the next expansion is based in the homeland of the Scarlets, and the Arathi will be relevant. Is this all set in the ground for the return of the Light Army, and what is the connection between the two? You can actually play War Within on your phone with Awesome, this video's sponsor. Check in on your characters or just play the game, as you can control your PC with your phone completely free. Awesome is super easy to use. Check out the link and download the PC and the phone app and just connect it. The free version itself is amazing. You can control your desktop, transfer files, but the real deal is the game version. It has custom keyboards for various games other than just WoW, and you can enjoy AFK gaming at any time, anywhere with game sound. Make sure to use my code DORON to get 7 days completely free, only for the first 200 people. Startable Gaming is they got hot sales up to 40% off on Pro and game versions. Check out Awesome. So, if you keep all the news, you might have seen the new raid that they just added to the Season of Discovery, which, by the way, you might think, who really cares? This isn't really the main storyline, this isn't the World Soul Saga. Well, think twice, because it is obviously connected, and this is just one of the hints they first give us in Season of Discovery that later shows up in retail. You might remember, when Season of Discovery was actually announced, Chris Metzen himself came to the forums and he confirmed that this version of Classic isn't some alternate reality or like a different version of the game. No, these are the so-called found memories. Like, this is Classic that we've been through, canon lore, just from like a different lens, from like a different perspective. So we've been through the main storyline, but these are some things that actually happened that we originally didn't see ourselves. So interesting enough, we got multiple appearances of Xal'atath so far, which showed us she was literally working on this plan that she's putting in motion right now, even back in Classic, and we never actually saw that originally. At the same time, with Xal'atath, we had seen pretty interesting light crystal that was never actually there in Classic, or at least we didn't personally see it. Now, people are speculating what this is and all, but then we've learned a few months back that a bunch of these crystals akin to Beledar exist all over Azeroth. So far, we had seen 2 personally in the War Within, and as I said, they seem to be all over Azeroth. So, Season of Discovery showed us that these were here even back in Classic, we just never personally saw them in our original thing. However, now things have really amped up, and while you might think this is just nostalgia baiting with new Arathi lore and everything, I feel like there are just too many things going on where this wouldn't be connected in any way. Like, it would be weird if this is not connected. So this new lore is actually a brand new instance that they added into the game called the Scarlet Enclave. Now, this is actually the Death Knight starting area that we first really saw and experienced in Wrath of the Lich King. While Lordaeron was utterly demolished in Warcraft 3 by the Scourge, this is actually one of the areas of Lordaeron that held on and that allied with the Crusade, so it was kind of untouched. In fact, this is one of the oldest and most revered holy sites of the Church of Light of Old Lordaeron, as well as the Arathi Empire. Now, keep this little bit in mind, because the new Arathi Empire we will run into is definitely familiar with this part of Lordaeron, as they used to actually live there. So, the Scarlet Enclave is an ancient holy site, not just some random newly built Scarlet Crusade city. Now, this actually happens sometime between Classic and TBC, and this new storyline did actually happen in the game. Everything played out, we just didn't witness it ourselves. If you're familiar with the lore, the Ashbringer and everything, you might remember that the Scarlet Crusade wasn't originally the bad guy, they weren't villains. When Lordaeron fell, a bunch of noble paladins tried to hold on, to restore the light, to restore peace, but then a branch of these guys started just going absolutely crazy. Some of it was because they were in fact crazy, the other parts were because Red Lords literally infiltrated them, replaced them, and then they just did terrible things, which caused them to commit a bunch of crimes that ended up being really successful successful for the Dreadlords because these guys just started fighting everyone after that and they just turned into villains. Now, I'm not going to spoil this new entire storyline. Quick recap is Crusaders are trying to apprehend the next Paladin that they consider a heretic. This is when the Argents and the Scarlets had a pact to attack Nexamus together, so they weren't really bad. However, while they were fighting, a Dreadlord infiltrates the Enclave, none other than Balnazar, and Argenton and Scarlet Crusade are fighting against him. Nonetheless, the Scarlet Crusade leader, the Grand Crusader Calderon, betrays them and everything goes really badly as the Scarlets fall apart. Now, this is just an interesting scenario we can witness and actually return to pre-Scourge Lordaeron, but I want to mention why I think this is actually an interesting setup for the World Soul Saga, as guys, keep in mind, in Midnight we are literally going here once again. I mean, sure, quota loss will be the focus, but all of this will be relevant as it is super close. Scarlets were even relevant in Dragonflight, in Undercity, and Gilnea's questlines, and I think we are going to learn something soon that will shed even more light on this entire lore. Real quick summary, but you all know the New Arathi Empire. I've talked about this in a bunch of videos, even recent ones, which is apparently like a super crazy powerful empire, super advanced. A new book from the new patch from the PTR literally told us that they're capable of very likely invading other planets or sending expeditions out of this world, so very similar to the Army of the Light that we had encountered back in Legion. They were ruled by an empress during this time, now they're ruled by a guy called Thoradin the Knight, who is like hundreds of years old. Now, these guys are actual Arathi guys, and sometime after the Troll Wars, the humans, so people from the entire Arathi Empire, even Lordaeron, united with some elves from Quatalas, and they went here. What we've learned is that unlike their Lordaeron brethren, these guys are way more dedicated to the light. However, what is key to remember is that they took their teachings and traditions of the light from these lands, most notably from some of these old holy sites like Avalon. Now, I am fully aware that this could just be a random thing, but really quickly, just check this out. I mean, the Scarlet Enclave is a place called New Avalon. There's the Avalon Monastery. It is literally called Avalon, the ancient holy site. Now, we've learned of a new continent where very likely, by all accounts, these guys either live or have a place in, and it is called Avaloren. I mean, just think about it. Both guys are total light fanatics. One live in a place called Avalon, the other in Avaloren. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying the Scarlets are these guys or anything of that sort, but I want to say that we might learn about their actual connections soon, hidden communications between the two that we've never known about in the past. It actually makes total sense. I mean, light speakers communicate with each other. We know this for a fact. We've learned that Thoradin of the Arathi Empire got the vision to send its expedition to Kazagar. At the same time, Velen got the vision of the light as well. Now, the Scarlet Crusade is incredibly dedicated to the light. Do you really think they might not have gotten these visions as well? I'm not saying the Scarlets were there trying to fight Xal'atath, but it seems likely that they would have known about the insanely powerful Arathi Empire. We might even learn that they requested help from the Emperor, but he might not have sent it because he sent the expedition to Kazagar. First of all, it is really weird we never heard about this Arathi Empire. There must be some document that mentions these light guys going away from the Empire. Scarlets might have discovered them as they are in fact natives to Lordaeron, or if they didn't learn it from the history books, they might have learned it, as I just previously said, through the power of the light. What is really interesting to keep in mind is to not look at the light in like a black and white fashion. It is in fact just a power source that can be wielded for good or bad. We have seen plenty of light fanaticism, from the invasion of Revendreth to the takeover of Altered Draenor by the Light Army to the Prime Naru trying to force convert Illidan. This is also why the Scarlets are really, by all objective accounts, the bad guys, yet the light is always with them. Now, one thing I want to really quickly bring up, because this is actually new lore from the end of Dragonflight. Do you guys remember that retaking of Gilneas where we had fought some of the Scarlets and they started turning into light monstrosities? This is something they had never actually done before, like giant blobs of light and light elemental beings. Then they started saying things like, light will purge your stain from this world. Definitely super fanatical and much unlike the calm paladins and healers. On the other hand, as we are learning about these Arathi, we are learning that they're incredibly powerful, very likely even more devoted than the Scarlets, and from some of the conversations we've learned from Kazagar, they are just as fanatical, if not more. We were told that the Emperor might not like some of the races we keep in our company, which is definitely something the Scarlets would say. So the entire point is that, yeah, this new Scarlet Crusade lore is just a fun bit of nostalgia thing for the Season of Discovery, but I really think this this is a part of like a bigger setup. They also started bringing up the Scarlets in BFA with those pamphlets, then they had them attack Undercity and Gilneas with the new light lore. Now, all of this stuff in Season of Discovery. The reason it is even more relevant is that the entire next expansion is going to be based around where the Scarlets are, which really makes them more relevant than they ever were. Could we learn about how the Scarlets might have communicated with the Emperor? Did the Emperor send help? You gotta admit, it is sketchy that the Light Army possibly lives in a place in the sea called Avaloren. The Scarlet Port town is called New Avalon. Did the Scarlets get help, at least in some way, from the Arathi? Like, how did they even become capable of transforming themselves into these light blobs? Also, if the Arathi come, and they will 100% be relevant in the next expansions, could the Scarlets be their entry point into the Eastern Kingdoms? Maybe they want to retake their homeland back if they turn into bad guys, and the Scarlets are going to get more reinforcements than ever before, with an entire empire watching their back. Thanks for watching. Check out these crazy images showing actual Avalon by clicking on the screen, and subscribe to my Read channel by clicking on the screen as well. See you next time!